So we'd like to remind everyone to maintain order and please only leave the room between speakers. Okay? Thank you.
Judges automatic vote.
Life is hard, it's surprising, and at any point it can immediately change the way you live. Every team in this debate recognizes this, but only our team is the one that is able to give a correct response to these kinds of sufferings, a correct response to what is a horrible world. Precisely why we're making this, or destroying the overemphasis of spreading positive vibes in society. In the status quo, people are forced to not access the range of emotions that they should be able to, while observing a range of occurrences. We think this is a contradictive way of living, precisely why this is the unattainable reality that is forced upon us by opposition. Two things to note on OG. Firstly, this debate is not about spreading negative vibes. This debate is specifically about talking about a range of emotions in which people can access, and that is the alternative that we're giving. On opposition, however, they have to endorse a world in which people continuously want to access positive vibes, and how that's a necessarily major thing that they should access. But secondly then, opposition must also defend a world of crystallizing down your anger, your sadness, and the immense range of emotions that you feel into something that is consumable as a positive emotion. We don't necessarily think this is easy for many people to do, precisely why opposition's world is making it harder for you to be just a normal human being. I'm going to talk about 2 points in here. Firstly, how do you actually grow as an individual? Because I think this is premised upon the idea that growth is the most necessary thing. But secondly, I'm going to talk about larger community benefits and how it's only our side that's able to achieve that. On my first question about how do you grow as an individual, the premise here is that humans only exist because we can have personal growth. The fundamental understanding that humans have to adapt to their society, for example, to adapt to changes that are occurring around them, means that they have to access their sense of perceptions in order to create appropriate responses as to how to deal with those things and how to actually be able to survive. We think fundamentally speaking this is a correct response, right? What is the ideal case that we're bringing you? We're bringing the ideal case of having an experience of the range of emotions. That means that when something bad happens, you're allowed to feel sad, you're allowed to feel anger, but precisely why, once you're able to experience that range of emotions, you can process that in your head and understand exactly why you were feeling that in the first place, right? So you can understand what caused it. It might possibly be because you did something wrong. It might also be because someone else did something wrong. We think in either case scenario, people are only able to access this kind of cognitive ability and thinking once they're actually allowed to understand the range of things that they're feeling, right? And that's why it's going to link to action that you did, or the notion of what someone else did, precisely why we're able for people to understand what's happening around them, right? The urgency here is that there's an assumption that there's a ranking of emotions under opposition. That something is positive. It is that they assume that a positive emotion is the best. However, we're going to explain to you why the range of emotions is much better. How do you know which emotions you should feel? 3 reasons. Firstly, because of context. Context understanding what the situation demands you to be a human. Context understanding what you should be able to experience in that given moment, right? Precisely why you can only access the appropriate responses with a range of emotions. No, thank you. I.e., processing grief is a necessary means to access positive emotions later on. So while someone in your family might have died, or while you have experienced kind of immense sadness and so much grief, you can only access the positive emotions later on, while first understanding what you have lost, while first understanding what it is that you're going to live after that moment. Precisely why we're only the only side that's allowed to actually capable of allowing people to live in the fullest extent. But secondly, achieving positive vibes does not mean immediate happiness, which is the assumption that is coming from their side of the house, right? The assumption of opposition is that people need to have positive vibes because they're gonna live more happy, right? However, conveniently using my analysis from the previous round, understanding that happiness isn't just about what you exude to other people. Happiness is about an individual capability to access emotions, an individual capacity to understand what's happening around you. What is likely then is on their side, you shut away all your other understanding like grief, sadness, and anger, and you don't actually feel happiness. All you're doing is conforming to societal expectations as to what you're supposed to feel at any given moment, right? But thirdly, the emotion that allows you to grow is the emotion that is a rage. Because all you have as an individual is your perception. Because you can't change a lot of stuff about you, i.e. if you're black, i.e. if you're likely to be oppressed, for example. However, what you can do is understand your perception towards these issues, right? Opposition might say that you determine your own perception, so you should be happy. However, this is bad for the person, for their personal growth, because you shave off the stuff just being as a minor inconvenience, where in reality, that kind of stuff that's happening to you might be struggles for other people as well. So precisely why you have to focus on those things and focus on being angry, because that thing should never happen to other people. What's the worst case scenario under our side of the house? The worst case is that the negative emotion that you feel will prolong itself and fester in you, and you can never grow out of it, for example. Two things to note about this if they bring that line of argumentation. Firstly, it is not likely to fester because nothing is constant. As you recognize then, you experience other things in your life, right? You're not just experiencing one thing and you constantly do that throughout time. You have a range of experiences, you should be able to access the range of emotions. But secondly, even if this kind of anger festers in you, even if sadness festers in you, it is an essential tool for growth. Instead, people don't grow when all they're doing is subscribing to one emotion, right? The people who opposition wants to champion is the individuals who don't necessarily understand what it means to live. All they understand is they want to maintain a kind of societal understanding of what they should be, and so all they're doing is subscribing to what society forces them to, not what they're actually wanting to subscribe to, right? On to my second issue about community benefits. Sure.
People do tolerate sadness, people tolerate griefs. This norm is not overly emphasized on that specific context. It was overly emphasized on a specific time frame when people need to spread positive vibes.
Well, considering that this is a debate and that one side has to explain to you the goal at which they're going to pursue, the goal on their side is for people to continuously observe positive emotions precisely the way they have to stand for that burden. Community benefits. The urgency is there's an overemphasis of positive vibes. So you cut off everything negative in your life. Ideally speaking, we would want communities to understand the suffering. They can appropriately respond to that suffering, as I've explained. But now, why are movements successful in order to end suffering? Two reasons. Firstly, because of an appropriate response. It is principally important to highlight the kind of suffering that is existing in society right now. But secondly, you're going to be able to signal to society that there's a problem going on. And you cause an impetus to change for like groups who are continuously doing this suffering to other individuals, right? We're going to empiricize this with a lot of movements, i.e. African Americans, Burn the Corset movement, Stonewall riots, Black Lives Matter, and the climate strike. All of these exude anger, sadness towards what has been done, and also concern about how the society is going right now. You can only cause an impetus to change as long as people understand what the problem is, and you force people to understand that problem. However, here's a comparative on both sides. Even if Ops says individual can heal from trauma or sadness, we are the one that encourages societies to change so that suffering doesn't prolong itself. But moreover, we're the ones who help the most amount of people. On their side of the house, all they do is box people into an understanding that they have to be something that they're not. We're very proud to propose.